got to run it.
Oh, you have to run it. Then you run it. Let's go.
Okay.
No, the county runs it.
Well, I have
He does?
The county runs it.
I'm vice chairman.
The county. It's their meeting.
Is that correct?
Go ahead. You run it, I guess.
Yeah, I thought that's according to our assistant state's attorney over there. She's pointed that out to us. Thank you. Okay. Good evening and welcome to this. I've got to make sure I've got the right comments here. This is the regular. Let me see yours.
Joint, it says joint.
Joint. No, I've got the regular one. I've got the joint one too. By the time I find it, Wayne will be here. Here it is. I got it. Okay. We call to order this regular joint meeting of the Minnehaha County and the Sioux Falls Planning Commissions, and we'll begin with a few introductory comments. As a courtesy, everyone here tonight, please make sure your cell phones are turned off. Two planning commissions work together on land use and zoning matters within the rural areas surrounding the city. This area is displayed on the screen, this blue area. Any information and testimony is presented on an agenda item. The members will discuss the matter, and then each planning commission will vote independently to arrive at a decision. When the joint agenda is completed, the City Planning Commission will adjourn, and the meeting will continue as the County Planning Commission considers items beyond the joint zoning jurisdiction. Any final action taken on the conditional use permit request will take effect 5 working days following this meeting unless a written appeal of today's decision is filed in the County Planning Office by Monday, August 31st at 5 p.m. In the event of an appeal, the decision will be referred to the County Commission and the City Council for a joint hearing on Tuesday, September 22nd at 5 o'clock. And Wayne, I'll let you take over at this time. For the
Really?
motions. Yes,
I'm going to find him, sure. Okay, so if that's the case, then the consent agenda is where we're at, right?
Yes.
And all we have on that is the approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those same sign.
On the city side?
Motion carries on the county side. Item number 2. First of all, we probably need a motion to approve the regular
All in
agenda.
favor?
Motion
So
to
moved.
approve.
I haven't approved it yet.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, I'm sorry.
He was trying to get who was first and second. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, same sign.
Do it on the city and the county side? Okay. Then we move on to the regular agenda, which is item 2, which is a conditional use permit, which is located at 7100 East 26th Street, approximately half a mile east of Sioux Falls. Is there a motion to approve the regular agenda?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those same sign.
On the city side,
Second.
all in favor, signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, same sign. Passes on the city side.
Okay, item 2, Scott.
Okay. Scott Anderson, County Planning Department, and I'm going to be giving the presentation on the conditional use permit 15-46, and it is going to vary for just a little bit from what is in your staff report. There's a couple of minor corrections that I'm going to be making as I go through it. The request is to construct one communication tower, which would have 2 antennas on it. That was my mistake. I thought there would be 2 towers, but there's 1 antenna, 1 tower, 2 antennas. 1 antenna is 55 feet, 1 is 65 feet. So that was my misunderstanding. And the as indicated, the applicant is the Seventh-day Adventist Church, which is located on East 26th Street, as shown on the slide in front of you. The request is to build a communication tower with 2 antennas, 1 55 feet tall and 1 65 feet tall. The purpose of this radio tower is to conduct the operation of a 24/7 radio station, a 100-watt radio station broadcasting at 92.9 FM. And the applicant is proposing that the communication tower be of a lattice type. The city of Sioux Falls has requested, I've met with the city. They would like to see a monopole with a stealth design. That's the city's request. So I told them I'd pass that on to you. The applicant did provide a narrative which I included with the planning packet, and it explains why they chose or why they're requesting a lattice tower on this location. The design specifications of the tower, showing it as a lattice tower, have been provided for your review. On July 2nd, I conducted a site inspection of the property. As you can see on the map, the area to the west consists of the Split Rock Heights 3rd Edition. There are 3 homes that are visible from the proposed tower. Actually, the proposed tower is going to be located north of the existing church. And the closest house is approximately 300 feet away, and this would be these houses that are basically over here. And the area to the southwest, which is located inside the city limits, is a fast-growing urban subdivision called Copper Creek. And the Copper Creek subdivision is located approximately or more than 1,000 feet away over in this area here. The areas to the north and to the east are primarily fields, rolling open fields at this time. The Planning Commission is to consider some conditional use permit criteria, and I'll go over those for you. You should be considering the impact of the proposed use on the adjacent properties and whether it's compatible with adjacent properties and properties in the district or area. And it's unlikely that the erection of a single broadcast tower that would be 65 feet would impede the use of the adjacent properties. Any typical residential activity could continue to occur in the area without the broadcast tower being situated several hundred feet away. Shouldn't impact them. At the proposed height, there's no risk that any kind of tower failure would lead the tower to falling on anyone's property, because it's more than 300 feet away. The church property is approximately 22 acres. It's a pretty good size piece of property. And the tower is located behind the church, which sits up on a hill. I'll go over the slides with you in a minute. There should be measures taken to ensure that the proposed use does not alter the general character of the area or neighborhood. The applicant has not indicated any means to reduce the general impact of the character of the area. Large cell towers, however, are now pretty commonplace throughout the city of Sioux Falls and the outlying community. And it could be argued, would be maybe even a benefit to some neighbors would enjoy listening to the radio station. Number 3, what's the effect of noise, odor, traffic, air, and water pollution? Or are there any other negative factors which should be eliminated through the control of screening, setbacks, and orientation? Certainly the proposed use will not cause any noise, odor, traffic, water, or air pollution. The location of the tower behind the church will provide some screening from the road and the subdivision to the southwest. The applicant has a grove of recently planted spruce trees along the north boundary of the property of the parking lot. These trees are approximately 4 to 5 feet tall and are very well established. Eventually, these trees will provide some screening, but never will they be high enough to screen the entire tower. And then number 4, the proposed use shall not have an adverse effect on the public. And the proposed use will have minimal impacts on the public. The public will be able to see the tower. It will not generate any noise or traffic which would impact the public. Generally, the Planning Commission has preferred monopole towers, but there have been lattice towers allowed in the county, such as the SDN communication tower on La Mesa and an electrical substation communication tower at the terminus of North Ellis Road. Given the height of the tower, it may be something that you would like to consider, and I'm bringing forth the request from the City of Sioux Falls, the Planning Department. They would like to see a monopole with stealth technology type of tower. So staff is recommending approval of the conditional use permit 1546 with the following conditions. Number one, that only one broadcast tower will be allowed, and the tower would be of a monopole design with stealth, a monopole with stealth design. The total height of the tower shall not exceed 65 feet in height. Number two, the applicant shall install and maintain a 6-foot high security fence around the perimeter of the tower and post a no trespassing sign on the fence. Number four, that prior to the construction of the tower, a building permit shall be obtained. Number four, that the location of the tower shall conform with the site plan dated July 1st, 2015. Let me go over the slides with you. So this is the church. You can see where they're proposing the tower is back here off the parking lot. This is what the applicant is requesting, or this is the lattice design that they are requesting. This is the church, and this is looking south at the church in the parking lot. I'm standing approximately where the tower is going to be, and you can see some of the spruce trees. This is looking at the property to the west, which is the closest property, about 300 feet away. This is looking to the sort of northeast. You can see the Willow Run apartment complex that's being constructed in the city now off in the distance. Here's the grove of trees as you look sort of to the northwest, I believe. This is standing in the parking lot looking at that Copper Creek subdivision, which is in the city limits. And this is one of the adjacent property. This is standing on the east edge of the parking lot. And this is looking at that Copper Creek subdivision from the southwest corner of the parking lot. And I'd be glad to, I'll go back to the overhead of the general area, but I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Questions for Scott?
Sharon?
Yes.
Those houses, were they a serious circle?
Let's look on the map here. Yes, South Sierra Circle. And the applicant is here as well.
Scott, could you clarify, when you said you recommend approval, but for item number 1, on here it says 2, but you said one radio broadcast tower shall be allowed,
Not to exceed 65 feet in height.
right? Okay, but you also said the tower may be of, here you requested of a lattice
Yeah.
design, but when you were reading it,
When I spoke,
you requested of a monopole.
Monopole.
So what are we looking at, a monopole or a
my
lattice?
recommendation, based on what the city would ask it to bring forth, is a monopole
Okay.
with stealth design.
Design.
That's, I guess, the typical wording that the city uses in their conditions.
Scott, can you explain stealth design?
No, I can't.
Okay.
I don't know what it means exactly.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I think a lot of towers around town that look like flagpoles, that look like steeples, they're actually cell towers.
Mhm.
So you can tell it's a cell tower because there's a brick building the size of a single car garage at the bottom of the pole with all kinds of power meters on it. So,
Okay. Because I've seen some where they put like tree branches and stuff on it. and I
well,
don't know
like
if that's-
Eastside Lutheran over here has one with the cross on the top, but a lot of them are actually, they look like flagpoles. They have big flags on them.
Commissioner Senhar, you may want to ask city staff.
Yes,
They may be
staff,
able
Can
to,
you please explain what we're after?
what stealth means for the city.
The stealth design is just intended to make it look like Commissioner Barth said, as a flagpole. So it's wider at the base and it narrows to the top. So it doesn't necessarily look like a cell tower, although we all recognize them as cell towers.
So it really is just monopole.
It's a monopole, but in
Stealth.
our city ordinance, it identifies it as stealth design.
Okay. Okay. So there's no other things that they've got to attach to it? Palm
No.
trees if you're in Florida? or-
Yeah, that would be really out of character.
Thank you. Is the applicant here, and can you come forward and state your name and address and tell us about your project?
Good evening. My name is Driggs Porfirio. I'm the pastor of the Sioux Falls Seventh-day Adventist Church, and my address is I live in Harrisburg, but the church is in Sioux Falls. So hopefully you won't hold it against me. So the purpose of this project was that the FCC had opened I would say a rather rare opportunity for non-for-profit organizations to apply for a low-power FM radio station, which is just up to 100 watts, which means basically a radius between 5 to 7 miles. They didn't allow these kind of applications in about 12 years. And so, we thought, why not just, we're non-for-profit. Why not take advantage of that and see what happens? And sure enough, they did accept our application. We did attempt to find a place to place our antennas closer to town, which would have been about 3.5 miles from our current property, because that's where we applied for. But most of the other cell towers or towers that we approached would, want us to be, they were asking for about a good $1,500 per month for rent, for a 5-year commitment. And, since we do have to be faithful stewards of the money that our church members give us, we thought that, maybe we're not quite ready to make such a commitment. So then basically we fell down to a plan B, which would be to place the antennas on our church property. Ideally would have been to put them in the church steeple, but since it's made out of aluminum, that was not the case, because it would, it wouldn't allow the radio signal to go out. So this is why we decided on the tower. We chose the lattice tower because it was actually 3 times cheaper than a flagpole. And again, just as from a stewardship perspective, that was like the best choice. And also because in our minds, it is sort of stealth, because you can literally see through it, like the sky and the buildings behind. So if you don't really actually focus on it, you can actually see the background just as it was before. And our plan on this tower, and as you see in the papers, is that there are like 6-foot tall panels that would be placed on the bottom, so that no little hands and feet decide they would be fun to climb all the way up. And so, it's we do recognize that it's it may be sticking like a thorn in the neighborhood, and that's definitely not our purpose. And we do want to be very good neighbors, but this was the best solution that we could come up at this moment in order to get the project going. And our purpose is not at all to make a profit. As a matter of fact, this will be an investment into the community, because we will have yearly annual fees that we will be paying for broadcasting, but rather it's as a way to bring messages and of hope and inspiration to the community at large, and that's what we do as a church. So we thought that this would be another way of accomplishing our mission and our goal.
Questions for the applicant?
I got one.
Sure.
What made you, the location that you presently have proposed, why did you put it there? Why did you go to the east farther?
Farther to the east, we do happen to have our, Dwayne, what is it?
It's electrical.
The sewer.
Where
Septic
the
system?
sewer system runs through there, and we have a septic tank to the east that we would interfere with.
And so we wanted, we didn't really want to start drilling into the septic tank, and also because that is the highest, basically to the east of the parking lot, that is the highest point. And so as we go farther down, then we would basically have to maintain that height of 65 feet that we need to place the antenna at. And so as we go farther east, then we would be losing, I'm not sure, 5, 10 feet or somewhere around there.
Okay, thank you very much.
So as a matter of comparison, how high is your steeple?
80 feet.
80 feet.
Yeah. So, really it's even shorter. I mean, it won't actually stick out as much as the steeple does. Even though, yes, the steeple is much nicer to look at.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So what do you think about the city's request that we put in the monopole design?
I will do whatever you guys tell me to do. So, yes, it will, be more expensive, and I'm not sure what to say. I mean, it's as I say, I think that being able to see through the tower, that's awesome. But we will proceed with what the committee and the commission decides. But yes, ideally it would be to just pay a third of the price. So.
Any additional questions of the applicant? Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak to this item? If so, please come forward, state your name and address, and tell us what you're about.
Just one question.
Please come forward.
I'm Kevin Lippert. I'm 1506 Grey Goose, about a street away. And we spoke the other night, but bear with me. The cost of the mono versus the lattice, can you put that into specific dollar terms?
Sure. So basically, the lattice tower, we have a quote that would cost us about $3,000 plus the cement base. And then we have approached, I think it's Maximum Promotions right here in town, for an actual, flagpole, so that it's, a monopole. And basically what they say is that the flagpole itself would be $10,000 plus another, their installation of $5,000. One of the advantages of the lattice type is that it can actually be lowered in order, for maintenance or anything like that, so that we wouldn't actually have to be climbing up. Or if sometime the neighbors don't really like it anymore, they could go out into the night and just lower the whole tower. But that's basically what we're looking at. Anywhere between 12 to 15,000 for the monopole, and then the lattice, which is also lighter, only 500 pounds. And that would run us at about 3,000 plus, I don't know, 400 or 500 for the cement base.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioners?
The only thing I would have to say about this, Mr. Chairman, is that even as a county, on these smaller deals, we've encouraged monopoles. And I guess where I live, where this location is, if that's the city's request, I think we almost have to respect that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess I'm in agreement with Commissioner Cipher on this, because it will be incorporated into the city in the not too distant future. I'm certain it'll be annexed in the near future.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Diane, can you clarify, is that part of the SHAPE 2035 plan to annex that eventually into the city?
Yeah, as you can see from the map in the upper left corner there that Scott has on the screen, the gray area is the city of Sioux Falls. So where the star is, that's the location of the church, and the white areas are those that are outside the city limits. So it's pretty well surrounded by property that is within the city. This is an area that would be annexed in the near future, which is why our recommendation, because within SHAPE places, our zoning ordinance doesn't allow anything but a stealth design. And for that reason, that's why we have the recommendation to go to the monopole.
I think we're being encouraged these days to take action separately, so.
Move for approval with conditions.
Is that
As stated, monopole.
Monopole, all right. A motion and a second with the stipulations to approve, just to be clear that it would be requiring a monopole design. Any Any further discussion?
Who was the second?
I'm jumping way ahead.
I'll second.
I'm trying to make up for being late.
Doug said,
Okay, I just wanted to,
Motion and a second. Is there a discussion?
I wondered who seconded it.
Well, I'm glad you're going to talk about it. No further discussion? I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries on the county side.
City side,
Move for approval with conditions of a single radio broadcast tower no higher than 65 feet with stealth design monopole, and that building permits must be obtained, and that the location of the towers conform with the plan as submitted.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, same sign. Passes on the city side.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All favor say aye.
Second.
Second. All those inside, I'm skipping my seconds tonight. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned on the county side.
All in favor, signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, same sign.